Kennedy Williams, a sharp and determined entrepreneur, gazed out the window of his office, his mind clouded with thoughts of the company's precarious financial state. His real estate investment firm, once a rising star, was now on the verge of collapse. As Kennedy tapped his pen against the desk, his assistant Diane knocked gently before stepping in. "Mr. Williams, I've sent out the emails to potential investors. We have a meeting scheduled tomorrow with Samantha, the analyst from Conwell Investments." Kennedy nodded, his usual confidence faltering for a brief moment. Conwell Investments was his last hope, but he despised the thought of relinquishing control to an external analyst. The idea of someone scrutinizing his life's work irked him, yet he had no choice. "Fine. Let's make sure the office is prepared for their visit. We need to impress them." That night, as Kennedy sat alone in his dimly lit apartment, his phone buzzed with a text from his sister, Janet. She was concerned, as always, but her words carried little comfort. Kennedy stared at the message before tossing the phone aside. "Tomorrow," he muttered to himself. "Tomorrow, everything changes." The next morning, the office buzzed with activity. Staff members hurried about, ensuring everything was in order for the meeting. Kennedy, dressed in a tailored suit, exuded calm authority, though his mind raced with uncertainty. At precisely 10 a.m., a sleek black car pulled up to the building. Samantha Cole, an investment analyst with a reputation for thoroughness, stepped out. She was poised, her sharp features framed by a cascade of dark hair. As she entered the office, all eyes were on her. "Welcome, Ms. Cole," Kennedy greeted, extending a hand. "Samantha is fine," she replied with a confident smile. "I'm here to ensure this partnership benefits both parties." Kennedy led her to the conference room, where the team had prepared an impressive presentation. As Samantha asked probing questions, Kennedy found himself both irritated by her intensity and intrigued by her intelligence. She wasn't just another analyst, she was someone who commanded respect. By the end of the meeting, Samantha's keen observations had already identified several areas for improvement. As she stood to leave, she turned to Kennedy. "You have potential here, but potential needs direction. I'll be back tomorrow to discuss the next steps." Kennedy watched her leave, a mixture of admiration and annoyance brewing within him. Samantha was a force to be reckoned with, and he wasn't sure if that was a blessing or a curse. Kennedy sat at his desk the next morning, reviewing the notes from Samantha's visit. Her insights were sharp, almost unnervingly so, and Kennedy couldn't deny the value she brought to the table. Yet her presence felt like an intrusion. Diane entered with a file. "Ms. Cole is here," she said, glancing at Kennedy nervously. "Send her in," Kennedy replied, adjusting his tie. Samantha entered, her calm demeanor unshaken. "Morning, Kennedy. I hope you're ready to dive deeper today." Kennedy forced a smile. "Of course. Let's get started." As they worked through the company's financials, Kennedy found himself growing increasingly frustrated. Samantha's questions felt relentless, her suggestions almost accusatory. But beneath the tension, there was a strange mutual respect. "Why do you push so hard?" Kennedy asked suddenly, his voice laced with irritation. Samantha looked up, her gaze piercing. "Because failure isn't an option, Mr. Williams. Not for me, and certainly not for you." Her words lingered in the air long after she left, leaving Kennedy with a mix of determination and unease. That evening, Kennedy received an unexpected call from his estranged mother. Her voice was soft, almost apologetic. "Kennedy, I heard about the company. Are you okay?" "I'm handling it," he replied curtly, his grip tightening on the phone. "I just wanted to remind you that asking for help doesn't make you weak," she said before hanging up. The conversation stirred memories Kennedy had tried to bury, memories of a broken family and a father who had walked away when things got tough. Kennedy swore he'd never be that kind of man, but the weight of his current struggles made him question his resolve. Samantha arrived the next morning with startling news. "Conwell Investments is ready to move forward, but there's a condition." Kennedy raised an eyebrow. "And what's that?" "They want me embedded here full-time for the next 6 months," Samantha said, her tone firm. Kennedy's jaw tightened. "So they don't trust me to manage my own company?" "It's standard procedure," Samantha replied. "This isn't personal." Kennedy stared at her, weighing his options. Finally he sighed. Fine. But don't expect me to make this easy for you. Samantha smirked. I wouldn't dream of it. As Samantha settled into her new role, the tension between her and Kennedy became palpable. She challenged his decisions, questioned his methods, and pushed his team to their limits. One afternoon, during a particularly heated argument, Kennedy snapped. Why do you have to control everything? Because I care about success, Samantha shot back. Do you? The room fell silent, and Kennedy realized she had hit a nerve. He stormed out, leaving Samantha alone with her thoughts. That evening, Kennedy found himself at a local bar, nursing a drink. To his surprise, Samantha walked in, her usual armor of professionalism replaced by a more relaxed demeanor. Didn't expect to see you here, she said, sliding onto the stool beside him. Didn't expect you to follow me, Kennedy replied, his tone half joking. They talked for hours, their usual animosity giving way to something softer. Kennedy shared stories of his childhood, while Samantha revealed the pressure she felt as a woman in a male-dominated industry. For the first time, Kennedy saw her as more than just an adversary. The next morning, Kennedy arrived at the office with a renewed sense of purpose. He approached Samantha's desk. I've been thinking about your suggestions. Let's try them. Samantha looked up, surprised. I didn't expect you to agree so easily. I'm not agreeing, Kennedy clarified. I'm compromising. Their tentative truce brought a new energy to the team. Together, they began making strides, though the undercurrent of tension remained. As the weeks passed, Kennedy and Samantha's relationship grew more complicated. Late one night, while reviewing documents, Samantha stumbled upon something troubling, an old deal Kennedy had made that could jeopardize their current project. She confronted him immediately. Why didn't you tell me about this? Kennedy's face darkened. Because it's none of your business? It's my business if it affects this investment, Samantha argued. Kennedy sighed, running a hand through his hair. Fine. I made a mistake. But I'll fix it. Fix it quickly, Samantha warned. Because if you don't, everything we've built will come crashing down. Kennedy spent the next few days working tirelessly to resolve the issue. When he finally succeeded, he called Samantha into his office. It's done, he said simply. Samantha studied him for a moment before nodding. Good. But next time, tell me the truth from the start. Kennedy smirked. You think there'll be a next time? Samantha smiled faintly. There always is. Though their trust was still fragile, it was a start. Both knew the road ahead would be filled with challenges, but for the first time, they faced it together. Kennedy surprised Samantha one afternoon with an invitation to lunch. You've been working hard. Consider this a thank you, he said with an uncharacteristic smile. Samantha hesitated but eventually agreed. Over the meal, their conversation turned personal. Kennedy spoke about his dreams for the company, while Samantha revealed her love for painting, a passion she'd abandoned to pursue her career. The unexpected connection left them both feeling vulnerable. As they returned to the office, Diane teased, "Are you two finally getting along?" Kennedy chuckled. Don't get used to it. But deep down, he couldn't ignore the growing admiration he felt for Samantha. One evening, Kennedy found an anonymous letter slipped under his office door. It read, "Your new ally isn't who she claims to be. Watch your back." The cryptic message sent a chill down his spine. Kennedy couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching him, and that Samantha might be hiding something. He decided to keep the letter a secret but began observing Samantha more closely. Her confident exterior seemed unshaken, but Kennedy noticed moments of hesitation that hadn't been there before. Who are you, Samantha Cole? He wondered. As their project progressed, tensions between Kennedy and Samantha resurfaced. A disagreement over a key decision escalated into a heated argument. You can't control everything, Samantha. Kennedy snapped. And you can't ignore reality, she shot back. The office grew silent as their voices echoed through the halls. Later that night, Samantha knocked on Kennedy's door. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I push too hard sometimes. Kennedy sighed. And I take things too personally. Let's find a way to work together without tearing each other apart. It was a fragile truce, but it was enough to move forward. One evening, the team celebrated a major milestone at a company dinner. Samantha, uncharacteristically relaxed, laughed and danced with the others. Kennedy couldn't take his eyes off her. As the night wore on, they found themselves alone on the balcony. "This is nice," Samantha said, gazing at the city lights. "It is," Kennedy agreed, his voice softer than usual. For a moment, the weight of their responsibilities melted away. But as their gazes met, the unspoken tension between them returned, stronger than ever. Kennedy's suspicions about Samantha grew when he discovered an email she had sent to her superiors at Conwell Investments. It outlined concerns about his leadership and suggested tighter oversight. Furious, Kennedy confronted her. "I trusted you, Samantha. And I trusted you to do what's best for the company," she retorted. "This isn't personal, Kennedy. It's business." Her words stung, but Kennedy realized she was right. Yet, the betrayal left a rift between them that seemed impossible to mend. Determined to uncover the truth, Kennedy began investigating Samantha's background. He discovered she had previously worked for a competitor who had tried to sabotage his company years ago. When he confronted her, Samantha was visibly shaken. "It's not what you think," she insisted. "Yes, I worked for them, but I left because I didn't agree with their methods." Kennedy didn't know whether to believe her. "You've got one chance to prove yourself, Samantha. Don't waste it." Amid the growing tension, Samantha revealed a shocking truth. She had left her former job because she had exposed unethical practices within the company. Her decision had cost her everything, but she refused to compromise her integrity. Kennedy's anger softened. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't think you'd believe me," Samantha admitted. For the first time, Kennedy saw the fear behind her confidence. He realized they had more in common than he thought. They were both fighting to protect what they believed in. As the project neared completion, the pressure took its toll on everyone. Late one night, Kennedy and Samantha found themselves alone in the office. "I can't do this anymore," Samantha admitted, her voice breaking. "You're not alone," Kennedy said, surprising even himself. Their shared vulnerability brought them closer, but it also blurred the lines between professional and personal. For the first time, Kennedy questioned whether his feelings for Samantha were purely professional. Just as the project was about to launch, a major investor pulled out, threatening to derail everything. Kennedy and Samantha worked tirelessly to salvage the deal, but the odds seemed stacked against them. In the midst of the chaos, Kennedy received another anonymous letter. This time it read, "Trust her. She's the key to your success." Kennedy chose to believe the message. Together, he and Samantha managed to secure a new investor, saving the project at the last moment. With the project finally complete, Kennedy and Samantha stood on the rooftop of the office building, watching the sunrise. "We did it," Samantha said, a hint of disbelief in her voice. "We did," Kennedy replied, smiling. As the first rays of sunlight illuminated the city, Kennedy turned to Samantha. "Stay with us. Not just for the company, but for me." Samantha's eyes filled with emotion. "I'd like that." Their journey had been fraught with challenges, but it had also forged a bond that neither of them could deny. Together, they looked toward the future, ready to face whatever came next. Against all odds, Kennedy and Samantha found success and something deeper. Like and subscribe for more captivating stories.